So we have gotten to the end. Last looks. I sent you the questions.
Yes.
You've listened to some of these episodes, so you know. We asked the same thing at the end because I wanted something that was a bit of a connective tissue through all the episodes of the pop culture we love and a celebration of that. So, first question. What is either your favorite movie or a few movies that you feel are representative of your taste?
We could go on for quite some time. But
when Edie Patterson was here, she ultimately named 8.
I feel like the trifecta I used to say that I felt like hit like a bunch of, so or like maybe it's already like it's already a square, but like I used to say like Taxi, and these things are still true, but Taxi Driver, which I think by the way is a comedy, and actually says so much about everything that he was doing in that movie is what men are doing right now, like the embarrassing man. All right,
yes,
Taxi Driver,
yes,
Zoolander. Okay,
I can't wait to hear what
one
the
of
third
the great
of this is. But yes, but stick on Zoolander for one sec.
Mermaids.
With Cher.
Grew up with a single mother and a sister. And
I remember my mom and I loved that movie. What is Winona's character's name? Charlotte.
We're Jewish.
Yeah. I mean, and Michael Schofling.
He was I'm fully gay. He was so hot in that movie.
No, what I mean, again, I know Michael Schofling.
I know.
16 Candles, Mermaids. That's all you had to do.
That's all you had to do.
Like I know you're in Vision Quest also, but like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I
Him
love
the
that movie. Bob Hoskins in that movie.
Fucking Hoskins. And it's like
when the Kennedy assassination happens, I could talk to you about mermaids. The fact that you pulled
Charlotte,
mermaids,
you drive the way old people make love.
Oh my God. Oh, and little Christina Ricci as the
so
swimmer in the pool
with the
she's
orange,
perfect.
with the pumpkin on her head.
Oh,
the fight that her and her mother, that Winona and Cher get into when Cher slaps her. She's accusing her of being, it's just like turning into your mother and your mother not wanting you to be her. And it's the best.
I am now going to go revisit that. That is one. There are some that like, and you're so much younger than I am, but seeing that, like my mom and I saw that in the movies, but then I owned the VHS and have seen it so many times. It's like in my bones. Yes. Love it so much. Okay. Taxi Driver, Zoolander, Mermaid.
And then like Heathers.
Yes. Obviously.
Yes.
Corn nuts.
Great pate, but I got a motor.
It's perfect.
The original Hairspray. Mm-hmm. You know, of course, like John Waters, Wacky Horror Picture Show. You know, like whatever, like all the camp. Whatever happened to Baby Jane. There was a huge connection point between Lacey and I.
Okay, these are incredible.
A League of Their Own.
By the way,
not because I wrote on the show, but because I love that fucking movie. I think like Madonna as a supporting character is her best work. It's like some of her best work.
It was.
She's so good. Her and Rosie.
She and Rosie. These are great.
Great
influences. Desert Island albums. You are stranded on a deserted island. You have 2 albums with you to help maintain your sanity until you're rescued. What are those albums?
Okay, here they are. So first, we're starting with Harry Belafonte, Calypso, because then it's like we're embracing the island.
I love it.
Well, because I was really thinking about it. I was like, is this like my 2 favorite albums? But then I got really into the question where I was like, if like what would truly like how would I get through?
Yes.
So that's because then I love those songs and we're leaning in.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, like we'll make our little Castaway bow.
It's fine.
But then when that is driving me insane, then we're switching. We're switching completely. We're doing, first I was like, is it Metallica? But then it's Whole, Live Through This. Because we need to live through this.
Did you see the water I poured you?
Well, I did not.
From a Metallica.
Well, I see. And now it should have been fucking Metallica.
I mean, it really should. But Whole, Live Through This. Say more.
Because we have to live through this, you know? So it just, I felt like it's got to be like, we got to do Calypso. And then when that's driving me insane, like I'm switching to like something. But I was like, I love Metallica and that I think would be really helpful. But like my true like Whole is important to me, or was very important to me.
And if you're choosing a whole album, that sort of rage and energy versus Celebrity Skin, which is also a great album,
let's talk about reason. Yes, totally. I mean, Celebrity Skin is like, but it's a little.
Oh, it really
more,
had morphed by then. Yes, totally.
And like, it's still good and fun. I love a ton of songs on that, but it doesn't have the like Live Through
exactly.
This. Yeah. I think Live Through This has Jennifer's Body on it, which was also one of my favorite movies.
I love it. I love that you were able to get one more in there. Thank you so much.
Did I beat the record? Is that like 10 or 12?
Yeah, exactly. I think so. We'll get there. Okay, books. Do you have a favorite book of all time or just a book you've read recently and would recommend? I wanted this to be a recommendation section also, but that's been also really cool. People reaching out of like, I just read this and it's so good, or I need a new book. I went back and looked at what so-and-so's choice was.
Okay, I love that. I'm also always looking for books. This was a very important book to me. I read it when I was 15 for the first time, and then I recently reread it. But Virginia Woolf's Orlando, which I do recommend.
Never read that.
First of all, you should read it.
I love Virginia Woolf so much, and talked about this when JJ Philbin was here, because Indigo Girls rites of passage specifically meant so much to me.
Yeah.
And I know so much about Virginia Woolf, having not read Orlando, but I know so much about her because of that song, and then being curious about Virginia Woolf.
Yeah, I mean, Virginia is somebody, if you want to get curious about somebody, or like read somebody's letters, she's a great person to read her letters and her like love letters, and her diaries, great diaries. But
so I haven't read Orlando.
Really is like a long form love letter to Vita Sackville West, who was her sort of like longtime lesbian kind of affair.
Yeah.
But also like best friendship and this sort of like, but it's about Vita sort of, but the book starts out, it's about a man named Orlando. He sort of lives for like 300 years and it's never really addressed. He keeps having all these different experiences. And then halfway through the book, he wakes up one day and he's a woman. And it's just a sort of book about like how there is no difference really between, I mean, there are some differences, but like that it's like women are no less intelligent or this or that, and actually like men are similar.
Which is like borderline transgressive at that point.
I mean, it was incredibly because it was like this very sort of like gender fucked kind of like very kind of gay, because he's like in love with a woman in the beginning, and then then is a woman now, but it's sort of like stream of consciousness. Like the way that she wrote it was so revolutionary for the time, and there's so many, it's like 100 years old, and you read this book and it's still, some of it still feels so resonant.
That's what's so wild, and that is what honestly Amy and Emily were singing about in that song, of like, it's the connection through those pages, even though it is so long ago, but doesn't
because
feel
it's so like when somebody was, I mean, she's so smart and it's so intellectual, but it's also so from this,
her
like
soul,
her gut and her soul that you can't, and because of the stream of consciousness of it, there's ways that our brains have always worked, and completely. Our like hearts and whatever, and
I love that.
And I think like even if the subject matter was totally boring, like the way she writes it is so radical and revolutionary and so resonant, and like I would recommend it to literally anyone at any moment.
I can't wait to read this.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. TV show. Do you have a favorite of all time, or what have you watched recently that you loved and would recommend?
So favorite of all time. Well, I will say one of my favorite shows of all time that I rewatched recently, and it's still held up for me, and I don't think people give it enough credit, and I think people need to revisit it. It's The United States of Tara.
I have never seen that show.
Okay. First of all, people want to talk about like they know they know about Toni Collette. You don't fucking know about Toni Collette unless you've watched United States of Tara.
Sit down, Muriel's Wedding. Like, calm down.
And I love Muriel's Wedding.
Of course.
Please.
Of course.
Okay. But no, truly. And look, there's a conversation to be had that was had, and we should still have, about whether or not it was an accurate portrayal of dissociative identity disorder, which I mean is still a controversial diagnosis in and of itself, or whether or not like we should be using that as like a storytelling device. Sure. But having said that, and I'm not sweeping those under the rug, but having said that, first of all, just like in terms of acting, it's like the most incredible, like she plays, it's a show that should not work. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's about this family, and then the mother has dissociative identity disorder, and you can't quite feel like there's clearly some trauma in her past that they're like trying to figure out. But then it's like taken on and so she plays like in the first couple of seasons, she's playing herself. She's playing this like uppity housewife character, and then she's playing like a 16-year-old slut named T, and she is playing a man named Buck.
Amazing.
And
she is next level.
And you come to love each of these people as totally different characters. Wow. And it really is like about like the complete portrait of what it is to be like a woman and a mother, and how you have all these like other sides that and your children.
And even Buck is one of those sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And like, and also how trauma fucks your head, and like fucks all your relationships, and also how like and it's also just about a family, kind of like traumas bond you, and also then you sort of grow around them.
Yeah,
like, at some point you stop
like they
growing.
Are stagnant.
Like, are you now like growing through them and with them, or have you now grown around them, and like how has the dynamic become toxic now because like the husband always has to help her out, but then does he kind of love being a savior? And when she's feeling better, now does he not? And it's just like you get into it's just like it's a show about a family beautifully done. And
I can't wait to watch this. This was
funny.
It was on Showtime.
It's on Showtime.
Immediately as you said it, I pictured Toni Collette
because it was Diablo Cody, which I guess
she created
her out
it
a couple times together. It was like her and Steven Spielberg.
Oh wow!
Where Brie Larson started.
Oh wow!
She played the daughter.
Cool.
Viola Davis has like a bit part, like a 3-episode arc. It's so funny and it's so deeply, and it's not really making fun of this disorder.
No,
like.
Well, no, Toni would never approach it that way. Or
Well,
I'm sure
no,
writing,
I mean, and what Tony's doing.
Next level.
I mean, it's truly, but I mean, and it was, I think it ended up being only like 3 seasons. So it's not a hard.
Great.
It's like, it's always what I think of as this sort of like gold standard for me of like, I don't think it's the best show ever made, but I do think it's like, oh, when I think of things that I would like to make, it's things that like are that like so fucking weird.
Yeah.
But also like, because they're about these things that we all
that are so universal.
I mean, well, I'm not saying anything everybody else in the entire history of this industry hasn't said, but I just think that's a really good example of
doesn't
not
mean
that
it's not
many
true.
shows actually get made and
completely. And what a dream role for roles, but what a dream part for Toni to play.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for this. Great.
You just like believe. You're just like, yeah. I mean, just I love Buck.
What a great note to end on. Michelle Badillo. I mean,
Becky's
this was all exactly. Becky, how do we pronounce it? Michelle Badillo. I'm Becky Sloviter. Nice to
Sloviter. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. This was so fun.
Thank you again for having me.
I never know how to end it, so I'm gonna get up and give you a hug.
All right.
And until I come